All right, so in the last video, we talked about how PenFed is approving people 2 years after bankruptcy. And I told you guys a couple of examples where people were getting approval 6 months to even a year after bankruptcy. But that got me thinking, what does it actually take to go from bad credit to high limit approvals? Can you really get a $10,000 credit card after a bankruptcy? What are banks actually looking at? And let's break that down in today's video. So first off, let's clear this up. You don't need an 800 credit score to get a high limit. That is a myth. There is a threshold where banks start taking you more seriously. From what I've seen, the magic number usually is around 650 to 700. But once you start getting above 650 and getting closer to the 700s, you start getting out of those crappy $500 limits, $1,000 limits, and then you start seeing real approvals. So if you're still sitting at a 525, 540, 515 on all three of your credit bureaus, you still got work to do. That type of profile with those scores, they're not going to get you a $10,000 limit. That's not going to happen. So most people think credit limit equals credit score, and that's not the complete story. That's a piece of it, but that's not the complete full 360. Income matters. A $50,000 earner with a 680 score might get $5,000 in a limit, but a $100,000 earner with the same score can get closer to a $10,000 limit. Now, quick note, when you're dealing with credit card application, your household limit can be put on the application, not just you. Some people are living in those situations where it's them, their spouse, and maybe they're renting out a room in the parent's home or whatever. You could put the household income on the application. That is completely viable. That is completely legal. If you guys want me to go into why that is, I'll make sure to go ahead and do an additional video for you guys. Current debt load. So if you're already maxed out on other cards, lenders are going to hesitate to give you more. So they always say keep utilization under 30. We know probably it's better to be 1 to 7%. If a bank pulls your credit reports and they see that you're maxing out cards with 2 other credit unions, the likelihood that they're going to give you now a $10,000 credit limit, I'll let you decide whether that's a high likelihood or a low likelihood, right? Relationship banking is the key, and that goes to my next point. If you have multiple accounts with the credit institution, you're likely going to get higher limits. How many of us have seen either personally, I think I've even showed you videos on my channel, people doing the Navy Fed pledge loan, getting the end rewards card, letting that sit for a couple of months, then going for unsecured cards and getting $10,000 limits. A lot of you guys watching, a lot of your first $10,000 and above credit limits probably came from a credit union, right? We've seen that over and over and over again, but you want to build that relationship. So if you are 2 years post bankruptcy, sitting at a 660 plus, and you have decent income, again, household income, you're not maxed out on your credit cards, which means your total utilization is relatively low. That is the time where you want to be swinging for high credit card limits. And the reason why I'm on this website, it's not random. I just recorded a video for you guys, letting you guys know that if you're coming out of bankruptcy, even if it's 1 year out of bankruptcy, but you're doing the things that we teach on this channel, this is a solid card to go after to build relationship with a quality credit union, to get an unsecured card with a decent credit limit without having to deal with annual fees or mess with some of those junk fees and junk credit cards. A lot of these companies, a lot of these banks still rely on relationship banking. There's really no 2 ways around that. So before you waste a hard inquiry, you need to see which lenders are already willing to give you a shot. That's where the pre-approval comes in. And again, above my head, you see if I pre-qualify, apply now. Once you join the bank or the credit union, there are tons out there, tons of local credit unions in your backyards that most people don't even know, right? These are the relationships that you want to deal with. But before you even start applying, check to see if they're going to give you a pre-approval. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's still going to give you just a little bit more confidence and a little bit more data points to show you're on the right track. Let me go give it a shot. I shouldn't have to even tell you guys about Navy Federal. You should already know at this point, they're able to still give you guys very high limits. Apple Card, notorious for soft pulls, approving surprisingly high limits still. So you always want to check the pre-qualification before applying. This lets you see your approval odds without hurting your credit. If all you're doing right now is blindly applying to different credit cards, all you're doing at that point is getting unnecessary hard inquiries added to your credit profile. and you're just probably discouraging yourself, right? So always, if possible, check that pre-approval link first. All right, so let's say you're in position to apply. Which cards actually give high limits after bankruptcy? Again, PenFed Gold Visa, no annual fee, known for $5,000 to $10,000 approvals post-bankruptcy. Once again, Navy Federal, if you're able to get in, you built a relationship, don't be surprised if you're able to get $10,000 limits with their credit card products. Apple Card, no hard pull until you've accepted. People are getting $7,000 to $15,000, even with mid 600 scores. Upgrade Visa, we talked about this already, $10,000 credit limits, even with low 600 scores, but that one does not report as a revolving unsecured card. It reports as an installment loan. So that is a little bit of a twist. If you're looking for high credit limits, that is still a viable option. So if you've been approved for a high limit credit card after you had bad credit, drop your score and what card that you got in the comments so other people can see. I want to see in real time what people are actually applying for so we can build the data points in our community. One of the biggest cheat codes, which we have been preaching for I don't know how many years, is having a relationship with the bank before applying. If you already have a checking account, if you already have a savings, if you already have a small loan, or even if you have direct deposit set up with them, the likelihood of you getting approvals and higher credit limits goes up dramatically. So step one, open a savings or checking account with your target bank before applying. Step two, keep the money flowing for at least 2 to 3 months. Even those small deposits are going to make an impact in their underwriting decisions. So step number three, if you see your scores are in the mid 600s and above, make sure to hit that pre-qualify option, which you see above my head, and then go ahead and swing for that credit card application. That is the approach I want you guys to take without having to cross our fingers and applying in the middle of the night, hoping we can trick the banks, right? This is the way I want you guys to go instead. So if you do everything right, but you still are getting low limits, you might be applying too soon after bankruptcy. Many banks auto reject or lowball limits if you're under 2 years post bankruptcy. Even if your score is relatively high, like I said before, the 3-digit score is not the end all be all. They're looking at everything in totality. And some banks, they are going to weigh the time out of bankruptcy a lot differently than just if you put an authorized user on your account and you figured out a way to get your TransUnion to be 720, right? It takes more than just a 3-digit FICO score to make these banks happy. It is what it is at this point. So even if your score is high, the bankruptcy flag makes lenders nervous. My suggestion, if you can, is to wait the 2 full years, and that way you can get better approvals. So guys, that is pretty much it. I don't want to keep this video too long. If anything I said in this video or in the previous PenFed video did not make sense, you want me to highlight it more, you guys know how I do. I can go 30 minutes on one topic if need be, but I do not know what you guys need if you don't tell me. So go down in the comments. Let me know where you are at in the journey. Let me know what questions you may have. And always like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll check you guys out in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.